right. Hey everyone, Coach Adelene here with you. I'll be taking you through today's video, demonstrating all the fundamentals of Pilates, but also focusing on how to properly engage your core, and giving you some tips and tricks on how, not really tricks, but tips on how to get the most out of your workouts and all the sequences and series that I've come up with. So in this really quick live video, I'm going to take you through all the fundamentals of Pilates. So the main focus of Pilates is to try and lengthen, sculpt, and tone your entire body, focusing on those isolated exercises within the smaller muscle groups that will actually enhance and improve stability and your alignment. So we move in frontal, sagittal, and coronal plane. What that means is we'll move forward and back, we'll move side to side, and we'll also move out, away from the center of your body. So with that being said, I'll start with the first and the most important part, which is when you're standing and how your posture should be while you are in that standing position or even kneeling. Very quick one. Whenever you're standing in neutral alignment, your feet should be directly underneath your hips. All right, so where I'm at, like right now, my feet are directly underneath my hips. Your knees are stacked right above your ankles, and your your hip is directly above your knees, and your shoulders are directly above your hips. So what that's going to look like from the side is, all right, I'm standing from the side and I'm trying my best to lengthen my body and really tighten my core. I have an anterior pelvic tilt that I mentioned in my email, and that used to look like that, okay? Where I'm really arching at the back, I'm not properly engaging my core. Whenever I say engage your core and you're in that standing position, what I actually mean is, rather than squeezing your bum like you don't have a butt, the better way to approach tightening your core while you're in the standing position is to think about, okay, your pelvis or your pelvic bone, which is at the very bottom, all right, of that hip. So you've got the two hip bones, and then you've got the pelvic bone, which is right at the bottom of that triangle, all right? So I want you to think about pulling that pelvic bone up towards your sternum, or closing the gap between your ribs and your hips. So you're not tucking your bum in, you're actually just pulling that and lengthening the lower back towards the sacrum, okay? And that should look like that, like so. So you've got your neutral position while you're standing, and from the front it looks like that, okay? So that is properly engaging, whether you're in the standing position, you're on your quadruped, or you're in the lying position. You always want to make sure that you've got that tucked in, and I'll go through the rest of those movements. So after I demonstrate how to properly engage your core, I will go through a little series for each of those positions, okay? So standing, that is your position, and I'm going to get you to try this one with me. If you're here live with me, let me just quickly check if this is working. I've also got it recording on the side if you do miss this one. Oh, we've got 7 people also. All right. So just a quick standing sequence, all right? So this one, I'm going to bring your feet slightly wider than your hips, and this is going to be sort of a sculpt, okay? And when I give you breathing cues, just so you know, breathing cues are just there so you can stay focused during the workout. If you breathe in and out through different phases of the exercise, it doesn't really matter. All that matters is that you're in tune with your body. So thinking about the muscle groups so that the oxygen can travel to those muscles and you benefit from the entire series. So with this one, I want you to stand with your feet slightly wider than your hips. It will not be longer than 3 minutes, so stay with me. And all I want you to do is, we'll start with some regular squats. So bringing the hips parallel to the hips, hips parallel to the knees, and you can point your toes away from the center of your body if you feel like you need that to get a little bit lower in your squat. If you can't, don't worry about it. So I take you through 5 of these, all right? And watch from the side as I try my best not to overarch my back, all right? So I want you to tuck the tailbone in and focusing on that tailbone coming down towards the floor. And we're going to go for 3 more. I'm going to turn sideways. And 2. And 1. And I'm going to get you to pause at the bottom. And we're going to pulse here for 5. And 4. And 3. And 2. And 1. I want you to bring your elbows to the side of your ribs. And this time, each time you pulse, you're going to raise your heel. Okay? So just raising your heel, your hand comes out to join. And you're just raising the heel. You should already feel that tension in your legs, but also in your core, trying to make sure that you're not moving too far out where you're losing balance. You're keeping that stability through the spine, but you're also working your shoulders and your biceps. And we're going to go for 4 more. In through your nose, out through the mouth, in and out. 3 and 2 and 1. You're going to pause here, and we're just going to push that heel towards the floor. Hold that position. And 3 and 2 and 1, and bring it down. We go to the other side. And 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Come back in to a squat. So that's pretty much the beginning of a series. After that, I'll start to add on so that you can understand how to intensify a simple series. Okay, so that was burning in the quads, but also a lot in the glutes through that series. So that is your standing position, all right? Always making sure that you're pulling that pelvic bone up towards your sternum so you can properly engage the entire trunk and keep that stability through your core. The next one, we are on our hands and our knees, also known as the quadruped, okay? You're on 2 knees, 2 hands, so that's 4 points of contact with the floor. And you're going to ensure that while you're doing this, 2 things to remember. You're not overarching the back, and you're not dropping your shoulders to your ear. All right, so Pilates, anything to do with Pilates is all about lengthening the muscles of your body, all right? So I went from that, really slouched down, to really pushing my neck out, my shoulders away from my ear. That's a really good way to think about it. And I'm imagining I'm pulling a string through my belly button and then wrapping it around the spine, okay? And that's going to properly engage my core. So this is my neutral position, all right? I've got my core nice and tight. I've got my hands directly underneath my shoulders. This is the position that I'd like you to stay in when we get into a quadruped, okay? Whenever we're doing anything such as leg extensions, hip abductions, or anything to do with the legs moving or the hands moving away from you, this position right here, try your best not to tilt the hips, all right? Trying your best not to tilt the hips will allow the entire trunk to stay rigid, which means your core is going to stay activated throughout the entire series. And let me just say that during the series or the sequence, try your best not to stop or drop, or if I say hold that position, hold it. The more you're able to push through that intensity, the more you start to progress and see results in your muscles. That's where the toning and the lengthening and the sculpting happens. When you move past that stage where it's really intense and it's fired up, but you're able to hold on and then just push through until the end of the series, okay? So bear that in mind while you do this workout. All right, so you'll start to see as I take you through this next one, how I will try and resist that pull from the hips to tilt and try to lose focus on my core. I will try my best to keep that stability, and the hip bones are going to face the floor. So you got 2 hip bones at the front, and they should be facing the floor at all times unless I tell you to move them, all right? So a really quick example. I'm going to take you through, do this with me, so you can understand just how intense it could be if you will focus on correct form. This is not going to take longer than 3 minutes, I promise. All right, so we're just going with leg extensions. I'm pointing my toe, I'm lengthening my neck, and I'm also keeping my shoulders away from my ear. All right, notice how I'm trying my best to keep that pelvic bone from turning to the side and keeping that rotation away from my hips. I'm not trying to move at the hips at all, just moving those legs out to the side. All right, we're gonna hold here at the top and just a little pulse there and trying my best to keep both my pelvic bones facing the floor. My hip bones. And 5 and 4, stay with me, and 3 and 2 and 1. Now I'm going to bring that foot away from the center of my body. I'm going to tap the floor, and then I bring it straight back to my starting position. And again, down to the side, I breathe out. I breathe in as I bring it back to my center. And again. Watching that breath and ensuring I've got this right where I need it with my hip facing the floor and allowing just the glute to work, bringing that leg out to the side. All right, we're gonna go for 3 more. And 2. Holy moly. And 1. All right, we're not done here. We're gonna bring it out to the side this time. I'm gonna get you to bring your knee to that calf. Straight back out to the side. Knee to the calf. Out to the side. Lovely. Keep going. We've got 3 more of these. Final 2. Oh boy. And 1. I pause to the side. Hold that leg up off the floor. We're going to pulse here for 10, 9, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I bring it back down. And I pulse here with my knees bent for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and we're done with that series. Holy macaroni. Can you see the sweat dripping right now? It is insane. So that is a quadruped position where I'm trying my best not to move and rotate my hips. I'm keeping them facing the front. And I know it's really tough not moving, especially when your legs are a lot heavier than your arms. It really is tough. But with those positions, if your hands start to hurt, just remember, you can do them off your forearms, okay? And I will provide these little alternatives and modifications during the entire workout so you can benefit from the entire series without stopping. Our next one is our kneeling position. Just like our standing position, you're going to try and keep that knee, all right, your knees directly underneath your hip with your shoulders stacked right above, okay? So you've got a nice neutral spine. And again here, try not to arch the back, all right? Really pull in and lengthening the lower back muscles as you're pulling that pelvic bone up towards your sternum, okay? So that is your neutral position when you're in that kneeling position. Another one we'll be doing a lot more is the single leg kneeling position. So you've got one foot out to the side. It doesn't really matter which position your feet is facing, as long as you're comfortable with placing that foot out to the side for a bit more stability. And if you're in this position, all right, notice how I'm still trying to keep that toe that's sticking out to the side in line with that bottom knee that's on the floor, that's resting on the floor. From the front, what it should look like, I still have that knee directly under my hip. So even when I reach to the side and then bring myself back down, I can still hold that position. And then when we come down, we can raise that leg and we still have that support of that hand and our knees supporting our hip. Okay, so that is our kneeling position. I'm going to take you through a quick one in this position right here. And we'll start, all right, with some single leg squats. So you're going to bring your hands out to the front and then straight back in. You will move the hip down towards the heels, you bring it straight back up. And this time, I want you to think about lengthening your arms. So bring your biceps to your ears as you bring the hands forward. We're going to go for 3 more. And 2. And 1. And we hold there. You're going to bring your hand out to the back and we're going to pulse the arms for 10. And 9. And 8. And 7. 6. 5. 4. 3, 2, and 1. We bring it straight back up. All right? So now you're going to bring your right hand to your right ear, your left hand up and over the head. We're going to tilt to the side. You're going to feel a really good squeeze here, but also a really deep stretch to the side of your body. And then as you come down, rather than pushing off the floor, you're not even going to drop the hands. You're just going to tap the floor. And I want you to use the muscles, all right? Your obliques are on the side of your abs to pull yourself back up into that position. Okay, so it's going to feel really, really tight around both obliques. So we reach up and down, pull from the side, straight back up, reach in and down, pull from the side, straight back up. Nice work. We're gonna go for 3 more of these, and I want you to use that oblique to pull yourself back up into that upright position. Final 2. And 1. Oh my God. And then I want you to drop that hand to the floor. We raise that other hand up, right hand up to the ceiling. All right, now let's incorporate our legs. We're gonna go for some abduction, raising those legs. And I want you to keep your shoulders away from your ears. You're lengthening that neck. You can see me. Nice work. We're raising that leg. Out to the side for 5. Oh my gosh, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold at the top. Hand, all right, out, reaching, elbow to knee. Squeeze the obliques. Turning to the side. Really lengthening the spine. Again, if your wrists are hurting, get on the forearm. And that's going to help still work through this series without stopping at all. You should feel your glutes in the bottom leg as well. Fired up as it's resisting that rotation of the hips. We're going to pause in 3 and 2 and 1. Let's hold it here. Hand up. We're going to kick forward, bring it back. Kick forward, bring it back. Hold that position. 5 and 4. Abs are on fire. 3 and 2 and 1. And we bring it down. Holy macaroni. That is an example of a side kneeling. Holy moly, the sweat is unreal. All right, now we've done standing, quadruped, kneeling side. Now I'm going to get you to turn onto your side completely. Okay, we're going to do a quick one on your side. Lord have mercy, this is crazy humid. Okay, just know that I'm doing this and I'm doing it with you, I hope. All right, so I'm going to get you to lie on your side first of all before we start this entire series. Now, when it comes to these positions, and you're, say for example, we're on our forearm and you have this really bad shoulder impingement that causes your bursitis, or if you have bursitis, or anything, any trouble or compromising on your form, you can feel that pain in your shoulder. I'd like you, rather than doing that, you're going to lie completely with your bicep to the ear or your hand out to the side, so you can, this way you might need something underneath your ear, say your child's toy, like a toy ball or a pillow or a cushion, just to support your head. Okay, but otherwise you can have that resting on your bicep. So let me just quickly check this is running. I'm afraid that it might. Okay, so now while you're on your side, like I mentioned, that modification where you can come onto your arm lying completely on your side. And now while you're here, notice how I'm just in this relaxed, really comfortable position. All right, I've almost got my entire side imprinted on the mat. Okay, rather than that, okay, your hand should fit underneath that oblique with the mat. So rather than lying completely on your side with your hip raised up slightly, I want you to keep that neutral hip again. So keeping that alignment where you've got the pelvic bones stacked right on top of each other. Okay, so you've got the right hip bone above the left hip bone. So you've got that nice little space, all right, a mouse hole underneath your waist. So that is our position. And you can either be bending your knees, you can straighten your leg, whatever it is, just allow your hip to stay stacked. So you'll see me sometimes, I'll try to keep my hip down so that I can really work the medius, or the part of my glutes that I really want to work. And while we're here, I'm going to take you through a really quick series in this lying position. All right, so with this one, I'm going to try and make sure that both my knees are stacked on top of each other. I've got my hips stacked as well, and I'm just going to slowly support, just softly support my head and keeping that long neck as well while I'm doing this. I've got one hand placed in front of me for a bit of stability and support as well. So we start this series with our knees bent at a 90, and I've got my toes pointed. So the patella is the front of your knees, that bony area. I want you to focus on allowing your patella to move up towards the ceiling and then straight back down towards the wall, okay? Without moving the hips back. So I want you to try your best not to lean back or lean forward, just keeping that hip nice and stacked. All right, so we're going with the patella leading the way here. I'll lie on my side to help a little bit to support that back. We're doing for 5 more of these, and 4, and 3, that patella taking the lead, and 2, and 1. All right, coming up for that next one, I'm gonna kick my heel out to the side. I bring it straight back down and then back to my abduction. I'm going to try my best not to let these knees touch, okay? I just did there. But otherwise, I want you to think about hovering off that bottom knee. Heel out, bring it in, close and open. And exhale as you bring it down. Inhale, raise, exhale, kick. Inhale, raise, bring it back in. All right, we're gonna go for 5 more. Whoo, 4. Oh my God, and 3, I can already feel it. And 2, and 1. This is just body weight. All right, I'm going to hold that kick out. Lord. I'm going to bring it down, straight back up with my heel flex. All right, this is working. I want you to lead that kick with the heel, not the toe, with that heel. So lead with the heel. Oh my Lord. Let's go for 5 and 4. Try my best to make it raising up with the heel. 2 and 1. All right, I'm going to bring it in, and I'm going to raise that heel from the bottom leg. Both heels are raised now, and we're going to close and open that clam. Let's go for 10 and 9. Oh boy. 8. Keep the heels together. 7, and raise the knees off the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We hold that position again. I want you to kick the heel out. All right, point the toe, and this is what's going to happen. You're going to make little circles. All right, for 5 each way. 4, hold that other knee up. 3, heel up. 2 and 1, opposite direction. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. I bring it down. Oh my goodness, that glute is getting it right. Okay. We've got 2 more, okay? 2 more that I need to take you through, the fundamental movements. The next one, we're going to quickly lie on our back, okay? Quickly lying on our back. You're going to lie completely flat. I'm going to try and take this clip off so I have my head resting comfortably. Now, this is one where I find I had to practice a lot more because of that arching in my back. And this is going to be a really good one to focus on as well. If ever you do those leg raises or any exercises which require your legs raising off the floor, you tend to get that lower back pain, okay? So everyone is different, everybody is different, and I just want you to move with comfort, okay? So with this one, whenever you're in that neutral alignment, for everyone, well, for some people, you might find that neutral is an imprinted back on the mat. That's me. If I raise and I've got a little bit of space with my back, between my back and the mat, I tend to have that lower back pain. So sometimes, if that's the problem, if that's the case, I have my hands underneath my glute, right near my sacrum, on my backbone. And that actually just supports my lower back. Doing that is not cheating. It's not the wrong technique. It's just supporting your spine so you don't hurt yourself. Okay, especially if the lower body is heavier than the upper body. Sometimes that's going to cause a lot of discomfort in the spine, and it can actually have the vertebrae coming apart, which actually is a really bad thing for your lower back, or your back in general. So with this one, all right, you're going to keep a triangle, okay? Making the triangle with the index and the thumb, and I want you to place that triangle on your pelvic bone and your 2 hip bones, okay? So you've got that triangle in the center of your hips. With this one, you're going to rock back and forward, all right? Pointing that thumb up, pointing the index finger. You're going to roll back and forward until you're able to keep that triangle nice and flat. Find that middle. So this is my middle, okay? I have a little bit of a space in the back, but again, everyone is different. I always like to keep my back completely flat against the mat so it can properly engage my lower abs. So it's biased to the lower abs when you've got that imprinted back. So that feels like my neutral. And I'm going to, whenever we're doing, it's not an ab crunch, remember that? It's more an ab curl in Pilates. It's like you're trying to curl the top abs, and again, closing that space between your rib, bottom rib, and the hip bone. So you're trying to close that gap, and you got that back imprinted into the mat. So that's a regular ab curl, okay? And whenever you're doing an ab curl, you're going to probably, some people like to interlace their fingers behind their hand, and I want you to rest your head completely so your head feels heavy. and then curl up. If your head is light, you are tending to use the neck muscles more than the ab muscles, okay? So always keep your head nice and heavy as you're raising your chest up towards the ceiling. So that is our series. The main movement here is to try and keep that back nice and neutral. And whenever you're lifting the head or lifting the leg, trying your best to keep that triangle at the front, all right, nice and neutral. So you're trying your best not to rock it forward or back and lose that stability in your abs and core. So we're going to do a quick little ab one here. Oh my God, it's going to be amazing. So with this one, we start with our knees, all right, in line with our hips, so directly above the hip bone. And with this one, you can flex the heel or point the toe, whatever you feel most comfortable with. If it's too difficult raising the leg, you're more than, all right, welcome to point the toe and just keep, you're going to move in the opposite direction. So if I'm dropping my foot, all right, alternating dead bugs here, if you tend to feel like, man, this is too difficult for my hip flexors, I don't feel like I'm properly working, you can stay in your tippy toes and you're going to raise your knee up rather than dropping your toes. So you're going to do an opposite movement here, but still working the same muscle group, all right? So we start here, and I'm going to bring my hands in line with my chest. My neck is nice and long. I'm dropping my shoulders away from my ear. I properly engage my core, and I've got that rib coming down towards my hip bone. I drop one leg at a time, bringing it up. Inhale and exhale, bringing it up. Inhale and exhale. If this is too difficult, we're keeping the knee bent and just dropping that toe. And we're going to go for 4 more like this. And 3. And 2. And 1. All right, this time I'm going to bring my hands behind my head. I raise my head up and I'm closing that gap in between my hip and my rib. I'm going for the same thing now, dropping that toe or bringing my knee up towards my chest if you're doing the opposite movement. And 4, 3, and 2, and last one. All right, I'm going to keep this right here. I'm going to bring both my hands forward and I'm going to stay here. And I want you to take 1 deep breath in. You're going to pulse for 5. Breathe out, pulse for 5. And we're going to keep doing that for about 5 to 10 repetitions, all right? Stay with me. And let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. And exhale. Raising the chest a little bit higher. Let's go. And exhale. That's 3. We've got 2 more to go. And exhale. Come on, keep going. And exhale. Last one here. And exhale. If you've got your feet on the floor, you're still doing this with your toes touching the floor. It's still just as intense as the feet raised. Keep going. And 3, and 2, and 1. Nice rest. Bring your knees up to your chest and just rocking the knees out to the side. Circular motion here. So that's just a quick little ab one, but in my regular routines, you actually add on from that hundreds, okay? All right, so that is the supine position. When you're doing your hip bridge, let me just say, when you're doing your hip bridges, okay, this is your hip bridge where you're raising your hips and moving away from the mat. Rather than watch how I'm going to do this with an improper form, I'm going to raise my hips, okay, up and down. You notice how I've just got my back arched and I'm really not focusing on engaging my core and getting the most out of this entire body workout. So rather than doing that, I'm going to properly engage my core again, pulling that pelvic bone up to my sternum, the center of my chest. I got my abs nice and tight. And then you'll notice, watch this, as I keep my hands up or out to the side so you can properly see this. I'm going to fold my hip vertebra by vertebra, bringing myself all the way up. And then vertebra by vertebra from the lower back, I'm going to let my hip roll back onto the mat. Okay, watch that again. Hip tight, moving up. Entire foot, 3 point of contact with the feet and the mat, rolling it straight back down. If you do this, all right, with me, as slow and controlled as possible, your glutes are going to be on fire, okay? So that's how you properly engage your core when you're doing hip bridges. And we're going to start our hip bridge series with that slow controlled pelvic tuck and then straight back down, vertebra by vertebra, focusing on moving slow and mindfully, okay? And then we'll move into different movements. Our lucky last one. Remember our triangle that we discussed in the front? Look at my hair, it's all crazy. I really don't care when I'm starting like this. You've got that triangle in the front of the pelvis. Now that triangle should lie completely flat on your mat whenever you're in that supine, in that pronated position. We align with your front in contact with the mat. So what that's going to look like is I'll show you a different technique where it's not in contact with the floor, and you will start to feel a really bad pain in your lower back. Sometimes we work the lower back muscles and sometimes we don't. But during Pilates, you always want to make sure that that triangle is what's keeping you nice and stable. So I still got my sternum folded up, my pelvic bone trying to fold up towards, oh my God, got some crazy shit happening in my house right now. So you're trying to pull that pelvic bone coming up to the sternum, and you're resting in this position. So whether it's an overhand reach or it's a side reach, whatever works for you here, try not to roll forward and backwards unless I ask you to do that, okay? So that's the only one. We might tend to roll forward or back, and that's absolutely fine when I give you the instructions to. But when we're trying to work it, the thoracic and the top cervical, the spine, the entire area and the muscles surrounding that area, just try and make sure that you've got that tailbone tucked in. And they are our fundamentals of Pilates. If you have any questions, let me know in the WhatsApp group. Oh boy.